What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another video. Today I'm going to tell you some of the things that I love about Raid Shadow Legends and why now is a great time to start playing this game. Raid is approaching its 5th anniversary and I can say honestly I've played a lot of Raid in that time, an awful lot. I've got a fully maxed level 100 account. I have collected up lots of champions over the years, whether summoning them from shards, completing fragments, fusions, in-game events. I've enjoyed building out these champions, using them in lots of different areas of the game. And yeah, I'm going to tell you some of the things that I really like and why this is a game that I do keep coming back to again and again. Of course, this is a sponsored video. I'm really pleased Raid have come back and sponsored the game. If you would like to try this game out, my QR code is on the screen. There is a link in the description and you will get some very strong heroes that will boost you out. A couple of epic champions. I've got copies of them fully built on my account, so we'll run through those just so you can have a look at my characters. And yeah, other than that, let's get going and talk about why now is a great time to get into Raid. Well, first off, we've got an event taking place from the 15th of April to the 30th of May where new players can win a gaming console and $10,000 worth of Amazon gift cards. $10,000. Simply download Raid, of course, using my link or QR code. Head to springhunt.plarium.com and enter your Raid ID to start searching for missing prizes, which include in-game items as well as game console and the $10,000 worth of Amazon gift cards. This is the first time Raid have done in-world real prizes, so very exciting times. On top of this, there's also a community couple of weeks celebrating the 5th anniversary of the game. There is a new 7-day login Legendary Champion, Chronicler Adelyn, which is really nice. To get a legendary champion out the gate in the first 7 days is very powerful. Let me tell you guys, early game accuracy is a really nice stat to get, so having an accuracy aura on a legendary champion will help you out a bunch. Now, she's got a really unique kit, so I'm interested in getting this champion and getting it built for myself, for my own account, because she places decreased speed, which means the enemy take less turns because they are slower. And if they are attack based, they'll do less damage because she'll also put decreased attack. But the real kicker here is that there is a buff that you can put up called block debuffs, and it's like a defensive thing, and it stops any enemy from doing nasty stuff like decreased speed, decreased attack, sleep, whatever it is. But this champion will ignore that mechanic, so that's going to make it very powerful because the enemy team puts out block debuffs. Chronicler Adelyn comes in and says, I don't care about that, you're still getting hit with this nasty stuff. She'll also transfer over debuffs from herself, which is nice. She's got a heal where she restores destroyed HP. That's really useful. There are some nasty things that will destroy your HP. And allies also deal more damage for each debuff placed on them by this champion, which is a really interesting looking kit, so she's going to be pretty good. You can get the perfect soul for another 7 days after that. This is like the awakening system in Raid. This will really make her much more powerful. So 14 days logging in, you're going to get all this really cool gear, legendary champion, which is really nice. And we move on to phase 2 where you have to do some challenges, and again you can get up to the 5-star soul for, which is, as I say, really powerful. I haven't played the game a lot, I know how powerful this is. And this runs up until the 8th of July, so you've got plenty of time to collect all of these goodies. Okay, so that's what's going on at the moment, but why do I really enjoy Raid? Well, I know I'm not alone here because there are over 4 million active monthly users. A lot of people, including myself, have fallen in love with the world of Terraria. There are over 800 champions to collect from 16 different factions. Classic fantasy factions like High Elves, you've got Dwarves, you've got Orcs. Some really cool ones as well though, like the Shadowkin, which are like a mix of samurai and sometimes undead enemies, so it is pretty cool. This is a game that's been downloaded over 250 million times, which is pretty insane, and as I say, I just think the whole aesthetic and champion collector aspect is something that I really do enjoy. But let me show you 3 of my favourite champions that I have maxed out and built and used quite a lot. So let's start off with Harvest Jack. This guy looks really cool. He is like a pumpkin demon guy. His kit is a disruptor. He puts lots of true fears. This is a really annoying debuff for the enemy team to deal with, because when true fear is up, there is a 50-50 chance the enemy is going to lose their go and they will have their skill put on cooldown. It's also got decreased speed, messes about with turn meter, He can put block buffs, fears. He takes away increased attack and puts decreased attack on instead. Takes away continuous heal, puts poisons. He will basically rip buffs off people when he hits with his 8-1, which is really nice. And when you attack him, he will take a buff and reduce it by 10. So like, as you can imagine, he's a nightmare, because he looks like a nightmare. He's a nightmare to deal with in Arena, so I really enjoyed playing him. He's pretty cool. And then next up we've got Skull Lord Vargal. He was a fusion a long time ago. Really cool looking champion, Lizardman. This guy's kit is very interesting because he will revive a Skull Sworn at the start of his turn, so you can do some neat things with that if you pair him with that rare champion who's campaign farmable. But he will also destroy max HP when someone attacks him, and he will also potentially put out fears, decreased attack. He's got some provoke, heal reduction. He puts strength on himself to make himself tougher. And with this kind of like destroying max HP, he's a really good counter to healers. Really interesting kit. You can use him in some really end game content, as well as faction wars. He's just generally a good champion. Another really good champion for Arena. He's a nightmare to try and kill. And then another really cool champion is Drexthar Blood Twin. This guy is earnable in game. You just have to do some tag Arena. Looks like he's made of fire, which is just really awesome. He will put an HP burn out whenever someone attacks him. Of course he does, he's on fire. HP burn is a very powerful damaging debuff that you can have. He's got some provoke, he's got decreased attacks, really good crowd control, and yeah, he will place HP burn when he hits. So this goes all about burning enemies to death. Again, this accuracy aura, which is really powerful early game. Really enjoyed earning this champion by unlocking him within game activities, and yeah, an absolute monster who I use quite regularly. And this brings me to the next reason I think lots of people really enjoy playing Raid. At its heart, it is a puzzle game. It's a game with lots of buffs and lots of debuffs that your champions can use. How strong your team will be will depend on how well your champions fit together. It's all about synergy rather than necessarily the power, raw power of your champions. Can you put decreased defense out, then put increased attack and have an attack-based champion come and slap the other team and do massive damage? Do you have a healer, someone to bring shields and protect your squishier champions? Do you have enough control over the enemy team? Sleep, stuns, provokes, fears. Do you have speed up? Do you have decreased speed? What do you need to beat the content in front of you? This is of course all on top of the rudimentary affinity system where force enemies are strong against magic, magic is strong against spirit, and spirits are strong against force. Of course void are kind of neutral, they're not strong against anybody, but it does make them desirable because they have no weaknesses. So when you come to content, you're trying to juggle your affinities, you're trying to juggle the kits of the champions involved. Sometimes you'll have 4 spots available to select, sometimes 5 or more, and I love how you drop different champions in to solve certain problems, certain waves, certain dungeons. Each champion, when mixed with other champions, really does have a unique spot in the game. There's many different ways to solve the problems in this game, and it's much about learning the champions and playing with them as it is about collecting them, which is what I really do like. And that doesn't even begin to get into the artifacts. So there's so many ways to customize your champions. There is like lots of different gear sets, whether you want to build accuracy, speed, resistance, damage, a relentless set for extra turns. There's a lot of customization. You can build your champions in several different ways. You can have champions with really high resist for arena. You can have champions with really high accuracy, super champions with speed and speed boosts. Lots of different builds that you can do with all of these champions. You can have people who resurrect everybody, so you need to make them really tanky so that they don't die. You can have damage dealers, but they can also have a shield set that protect people. There's lots of stuff to do in the game in terms of how to build the champions, which again just adds to the fun. The customization is near endless. One major reason I really like raids is so many areas of the game to play, whether it's the campaign and trying to 3-star all of the different difficulties of it, whether it's going through the dungeons, which now got hard dungeon modes added. We've got the PvE Pinnacle, which is the clan boss and Hydra, which is the gigantic bosses that you try and fight either daily or weekly for really big rewards. You've got faction wars where you have to take an individual faction through a whole bunch of levels, culminating in final boss fights. You've got Doom Tower, which is like a level system where you move up the Doom Tower. Each floor gets progressively harder on normal and hard. And then the most recent addition, which is the Cursed City of Cintranos, whereby it's like a branching path and you get to pick where you go, which way you want to do things. And again, you get different wards at different stages. There's just so much content for PvE for you to tackle. It really does encourage you to build a nice big roster of champions, really wide roster of unique and individual champions that you use together with those synergies I was talking about earlier. In addition, there's lots of PvP stuff. We've got Arena and Tag Arena where you fight other teams that have been pre-set up by other players, but now we do also have Live Arena. You can pick your strongest champions, go up against somebody else who's also picking theirs, and then you're fighting out in like a live battle, taking turns. Who's going to go? Can you pick the synergies that are going to counteract the other team and wipe the floor with them? So hopefully I've got you interested, which the game is of course 100% free. You can play it on PC as well as Android and iOS. So let me talk you through those bonuses that I mentioned at the start of the video with my referral link, starting with the Epic champion Tyrel. This is a defense-based high elf. He looks pretty cool. Looks a little bit like he's got a Tal Rasha mask on from Diablo, which is cool. He's got decreased attack on his A1, which is really powerful. He's defense-based, so that means the higher his defense, the more damage he does. So he's a really tanky champion, and he does a lot of damage. He's got a nice big AoE hit on his next skill, dropping defense. So decreased defense means everybody else on your team will hit that target for more damage if it's placed. He'll also potentially put to sleep if decreased accuracy is out, so nice bit of crowd control there. And his A3, he will take 50% turn meter. If that fully depletes the turn meter of the unit, he'll put a stun, meaning that the enemy can't take a turn. Defensive aura in all battles. I've used this guy a lot. I still use him in my High Elf Faction Wars team. I relied on him in Clan Boss and in general content for this decreased defense, decreased attack. Really powerful combo. 11,000 reviews for this guy. He's one of the absolutely OG stars of Raid. And then next up we have Rector Drath, who is a Knight Revenant Force Affinity support champion. Whereas Tyrel can actually do some quite decent damage, Rector Drath is much more of a support unit. She does also have decreased attack, which is very handy because of that like force and magic dynamic I mentioned earlier where the affinities change. That means you'll have decreased attack on 2 of the 3 affinities, which is really powerful. You'll also get a really big heal. She'll put Perfect Veil up, which just basically means that whoever gets Perfect Veil on can't be targeted. They take less damage, like damage reduction. She puts Continuous Heal on, which is nice. And she will also revive somebody with 60% turn meter, 60% HP, and Perfect Veil on them for 3 turns. It's a really powerful move on a very small cooldown once you invest some skill books into her. And also she increases the resistance and heals people who've got Veil or Perfect Veil. So again, really useful champion. So let's open some shards. Definitely one of the most fun things to do in this game. This is primarily how you get new champions. Most of the time you're going to get rare. You might get an epic, you might get legendary. So like this guy, Mystic Hand, he's a really good early game champion. I've used him playing through a couple of accounts because he does a heal where he equalizes everybody's HP, which is nice. And he also steals 2 random buffs from the target. So some of the bosses in this game got really big shields. He can rip them straight off. He's got an aura, 25% HP in dungeons. Yeah, and he looks pretty cool. Void Shards, this offers the Voids type enemy. That last guy we got was a Force Affinity champ. So the only way to get Void champions generally is through the Void Shards. And we've got Painkeeper. She is an end game champion who you can use in the Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss Unkillable team. So really good pull if you get her. But let's do one more Sacred Shard just for illustrative purposes. And we've got Magnar, HP, Epic. This guy's one of the best arena nukers in the game. Really cool kit. He puts decreased defense on his A1, meaning that people can take more damage. 100% target if there's an HP burn already out on the enemy, which is great. Got a big AoE slam here. Extra hit if HP burn is not out. Or if it is, he's got a stun debuff that he can place. It's a really good move there. And then he does debuff spread on his A3, but he can't spread some of the nastier crowd control mechanics. And then he heals every time somebody takes damage from an HP burn. Defensive aura and Doom Tower battles, 30%. Doom Tower is a very fun area of the game. Wonderful champion, and he just looks cool. Look at him, he's made of fire. How can that not be cool? And one more thing before I go, guys, there is a promo code at the moment where if you type in Spring Hunt 24 you will get some goodies. Just go and look for them in your inbox up here. Of course, this is where your champions will be once you have used my link, so make sure you're getting all these bonuses and goodies, because it does make the game more fun and make it a little bit easier. I also have a clan in the game, guys, Raid Filthy Casuals. The clan tag is FCYT. Do come along and join that, and I'll be able to answer maybe some of the questions that you might have as you progress through the early parts of the game. So that's it, guys. That was a little bit of an overview of my account. Some of these champions are just like so cool. Really enjoyed building them, playing them. As I say, this is a game that I've spent many hours playing. Really have beaten everything this game has to offer, and it still offers new events, new challenges and fresh content to do all the time. So I would highly recommend checking this game out if you are interested. As I say, QR code and the referral link are in the description. Thank you very much for listening to me. I hope you try Raid. Thank you to them again for sponsoring the video. Really does help out the channel considerably. And yeah, it's always nice to do something for a game that you actually really enjoyed playing. So I've been the Filthy Casual, guys. I really do hope you try Raid Shadow Legends. I'll see you in the next video.